Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. So I'm very excited because today I am doing a little tag. I was watching my good friend Brooke's channel and her 2020 takeaway tag, and I had never heard of this tag before, but when I searched it up I realized a bunch of people have done it and I just didn't know that. So although I feel like it's a little late because it's like mid-January and I think you were meant to do this before January, I think. We're just gonna do it because I really love these questions, and honestly in general I just love reflecting and stuff like that. But because I feel like I'm doing this tag late, I'm not gonna tag anyone, but I will link the original video as well as Brooke's video down below, and I will also have all of the tag questions in case anyone else would like to do this tag. And yeah, without further ado, let's just get into the questions. So the first question is, what sort of creative work did you do during 2020 and how did you feel about the end result? So for this, I'm purely going to be talking about writing because I feel like certain author platform things for me count as creative, but there are later questions that I'm going to touch on that, and aside from that, writing is pretty much the main way that I am creative. So I have two categories for this. One is books that I edited and one is books that I drafted. So as far as editing goes, I did a lot of editing for my work in progress, Lost in Blue. I was able to get it to beta readers and I got their feedback back and I was able to edit it, and I obviously edit it before sending it out to beta readers. And in 2021, guess what I'm doing a shit ton of? I'm editing Lost in Blue. And overall with Lost in Blue, I am honestly so proud of this book. And it's not that I wasn't proud of it before, because I was, but it's gotten to a point now where I read it and I am just so shocked at how good I feel like this book is. And I know there are still a lot of places where it needs improvement. Like, believe me, I've got a very big list of improvements to make on this book still. But I am just floored with how much I've improved as a writer in 2020, and I am super excited to be able to continue improving as a writer in 2021 and in following years. Now, as far as book drafting go, I started drafting 3 books. So the first one is called Lost in Love. No, that is not the actual title. I'm aware how cringy it is. It's the placeholder title I made when I was younger, so we're just gonna go with it. So this is the sequel to Lost in Blue, and I started drafting this for Camp NaNoWriMo, and I think I drafted like 10,000 words of it, and then I stopped. And the reason I stopped is because while I was doing that, I was also editing Lost in Blue. I was changing so much stuff in Lost in Blue to where what happens in Lost in Love didn't make sense, and I needed to like re-outline it. But then I never ended up doing that in 2020 solely because I think that Lost in Blue is going to continue to change a lot and develop. So I'm holding off writing the sequel. I was originally going to wait until I like published Lost in Blue to write the sequel. I'm not so sure about that now. I might dive back into writing it, but like sooner than that, but I definitely want to wait for me to feel a lot more comfortable with the big picture stuff so that I know that it's very unlikely that I'll change anything that is going to drastically affect Lost in Love. Because honestly, yes, the 10,000 words, it did suck to have to scrap that, but that's much better than scrapping a full book. So I don't want to like write the full book and then realize later, oh shit, none of this is useful. So then the second book that I started drafting was Ma Chérie. Ma Chérie is an adult contemporary romance. It is set in France. It is honestly one of my favorite romance ideas that I have, and I am so excited for this book. But I did not have an outline, and I kind of just started writing the first chapter because I was really excited, and then I realized I needed to outline, and I just never got around to outlining. So with that, I don't know how to say like if I'm proud of it or not, because I do really like the idea. It just needs a lot more fleshing out, and I do think that as I work on this idea more, it can be a really good story idea. And then the last book I worked on drafting was Smoke and Ashes. I have around the first like 30,000 words drafted. I think I drafted it in like 3 days. I was so in love with the story, and I still am. The reason I stopped drafting was because basically, okay, I drafted this at a point where I wasn't reading like a shit ton of stuff really. Like, I was reading here and there, but not a lot. And shortly after I drafted this, I had gotten back into reading a lot more fantasy. And I just kind of started to realize that the storyline that I had, it was pretty simplistic. It wasn't like as advanced as I would like it to be. And I just realized that the story that I have in mind was something that at the time I didn't have the skill set to write. And even like right now, I don't necessarily think I have that skill set. I think that for me to be able to feel comfortable like re-outlining and rewriting that story requires for me to grow as a writer a lot more, and I need to read a lot more fantasy for that. So at the moment, this project is on hold, but I am really proud of what I have so far. I really like the vague concept of it, and I am so in love with the characters and the romances in this book, and I have so many like book ideas. I have like novella and prequel ideas. Like, it's a fun time, and I'm really excited to one day dive back into writing. I just, at the moment, don't think it's going to be anytime soon. Overall, as a whole, I am really proud of all of the books that I worked on in 2020. Like I said earlier, it was a really big year of me growing as a writer, and I think that was partly because of how much I read in 2020. I want to say I read like around 78 books, and that by far made 2020 my best reading year ever. I don't think I've ever read that much, even when I was younger and was reading all the time. I don't think I ever read 78 books in a year. That's a lot of books. And I don't think I truly realized how much reading improves your writing until I actually read more. And it's one of those things that made me realize that when you don't read, sometimes that can drastically affect your writing. And I do think it's one of the factors that contributed to me growing so much as a writer last year. And yeah, I am genuinely so proud of all of the things that I have created in 2020. So the second question is, how would your main character react to the craziness of 2020? So I have two MCs, and I separated this into 3 different craziness. So we have the pandemic, politics, and human rights. So first of all, I'm going to start off with Sophia. So essentially with the pandemic, I think Sophia would be learning about how the US is handling things, and they would go, what the fuck is the US doing? See, this is why I never go there. If you don't know, this book is set in France, so they don't live in the US. Next, for politics, Sophia would be like, what the fuck? How was that shitty-ass president almost reelected? How are those votes closed? What are they doing? What are they doing? And then lastly, human rights. Sophia would be like, oh yes, white people are caring about my rights for about 3 days, and I'm sure in a week or 2 they're just gonna go back to not caring again, and the cycle is just going to continue for years and years and years, because let's be honest, that's kind of how it goes with social media and the Black Lives Matter movement a lot of the time. With white people, like, let's just be honest here. Then we have Ronan. So as far as the pandemic goes, he would probably at first be like, oh sweet, I don't have to interact with people, my anxiety is gonna be so much better. And then he's gonna be like, oh shit, people are dying, this is really bad. With politics, Ronan would be vaguely keeping up with his country's politics, but mostly thinking about the US and just so confused, and would probably be like, what is the US? What are these politics? I am baffled. And next, Ronan would be like, did the police really tear gas the peaceful protesters who are not violent? And people started saying Blue Lives Matter, but then they let the racists and the Republicans into the White House, but they didn't get tear gassed. Oh, that would be Ronan, 100%. So the third question is, what is a positive writing lesson that you learned in 2020 that you're going to take with you in 2021? And a lesson that I really learned towards the end of the year is that you don't have to be constantly writing to be a writer. And I'm not talking about writing every day, because I've never written every day. It's just not a thing that I've been able to do, like, ever. But I'm talking about, for me, for a while, I felt like if I wasn't writing 3 days a week, I was a failure. And this really led me to skip out on really important things. Like, I would skip out on some of my self-care days, which led to really bad mental health. I would skip out on my academics, which honestly, my grades for the first half of 2020 were not the best at all. And that was largely because of that. I was also losing quite a bit of sleep because I was wanting to write so much. I kind of like skimped on my author platform. Like, I know I've been pretty consistent on YouTube in 2020, but as far as my Instagram goes, I totally let that fall flat, and it was not good. Like the last quarter of 2020, I really started to realize this, and basically I went on vacation to my aunt's house in December, I think it was, and this was the big turning point, because I don't think I've ever really taken more than like a week or 2 off of writing, like in 2020 pretty much. Like for the most part, writing is just such a consistent part of my life. But I basically took that whole month of December off from writing, but towards the very end of the month, I did get back into writing. And it was crazy how taking that break and just taking that time to, spend with my family, to focus on my academics, to reading more, like that really helped my writing, because I went back into writing feeling energized and motivated, and I didn't feel so burnt out. And I don't think I even realized that I was burnt out from writing so much until I took that break and I realized how much I really needed it. So that's not to say I'm going to continue to take like month-long breaks from writing. No, I'm just going to try to continue with this mindset that if you don't write every week, that's okay. You know, if you can only write a few hours every week, that's okay. Because, you know, the books will be there, you know. So I just think it's really important to live a balanced life, as cliche as that sounds. And I think that's something that was really bad at doing in 2020 for the majority of the year, and at the end of the year, it's something that I really realized, and that's definitely something that I'm trying to improve this year. And thus far, I actually think I'm doing a fairly good job of that, and my life has definitely been a lot better, a lot less stressful, and overall, this mental health is a lot better. So question number 4 is to share a quote that you read or written that really resonated with you this year. And as soon as I read this question, I thought of this line that is at the end of Lost in Blue. And even in great darkness, there is extraordinary beauty. So I love this quote for 2 main reasons. So the first reason is how well it ties into the book and the themes and Ronan's character. So throughout the entire book, Ronan is really grappling with this darkness of being a werewolf. He's grappling with his morals changing. He's grappling with killing people. And it takes him a really long time to realize that he has to have that darkness to survive. And I love this line because I think it makes Ronan realize that through that darkness in his life, there's also beauty in it. And the second reason that I love this quote is because for me, it resonates a lot with me and my mental health. I think that sometimes with your mental health, especially with depression, you kind of just feel like you're swimming in a pool of darkness and like it's never going to get better. But then sometimes I think that while you're struggling so much and while everything around you seems so dark, there are also those moments of beauty. There are those moments of light that make you want to continue to hang on. And so, I don't know, just in general, I think this quote is just something that I so deeply resonate with, and it's truly one of the favorite lines I've ever written, hands down. The 5th question is, what is something that you did in 2020 that you are proud of on your channel? Honestly, consistency. So, I did have my channel before 2020, but I really don't think I took it as serious as I did this year, and I've been a lot more consistent this year, and I've been really proud of myself for being able to do that. And while this definitely wasn't the case for the entire year, I would say from second quarter to fourth quarter probably, I was super consistent with my channel, which I was really happy with, and I have honestly just had a blast making all this content for you guys. I've made so many friends off of my YouTube channel. It's just been a fun time. So number 6 is, in what way did you and your channel grow in 2020? So for this, and I kind of touched on this earlier, I think that the main way that my channel and I grew this year was just the community aspect. Like I said, I've made so many friends with this channel. I have done quite a few live streams. I went live for the author virtual retreat in 2020. I did I think it was like the 19-hour write-a-thon or something like that with a group of my friends, which was a ton of fun. I've met so many incredible people, and I just love the AuthorTube community that we have here, and it's just been an incredible experience, and it's definitely crazy to me, like compared to like 2019 where my channel is at now in 2020. Number 7 is, what is the channel that brought you joy in 2020? I'm going to be mentioning 2 channels. I was originally only going to mention one, but I feel like I mentioned this first channel like every video I make. But the first channel is going to be Annie. I just love Annie's videos so much. Her content is just so fun, so enjoyable, so relaxing. It is so aesthetically pleasing. It just really makes me happy. Like, I constantly watch her videos while I'm bullet journaling, and it just gets me into that like relaxing, reflective mood, and I really love it. And like in general, Annie just really motivates me and inspires me to make the best content that I can for my channel and write the best books that I can and stuff like that. I just love her channel so much. And I am seriously so honored to be able to call Annie a friend, and I am so excited to share some of the collabs that Annie and I have planned, because I think that they are really incredible and I just can't wait to share them with everyone. So the next person I want to talk about is Diane Murray, and I honestly think that Diane and Annie have such like similar vibes to them, and I think it's partly because like these are the kind of YouTube channels that I just love to watch, that I just like devour. Like, Diane's videos are so soothing, they are so relaxing. I could quite literally listen to her talk for hours. And Diane is quite literally the epitome of a nice, kind, optimistic person, and her videos just bring such sunshine to my life, and I just love them so much. Lastly, number 10. what 3 positive words can you focus on come 2021? And this was a really fun question because I've never been the person who does like a word of the year, but I've always kind of wanted to. So the 3 words that I picked out are all very interesting, and I feel like just all very different. So I don't know, I really like it. So the first word is euphoria, and I just really want to practice, first of all, being happier with my life and just like enjoying life a little more. And also with my gender, pretty much at this point, a lot of people know what gender dysphoria is, but not a lot of people talk about gender euphoria. You know, they don't talk about feeling so confident and complete in their gender, and that's something I want to practice more. I want to try to be more euphoric. I want to feel, you know, happier and better in my own skin and stuff like that. And then my second word is probably kind of an obvious one given my channel, but this one is creativity. I want to work on being more creative this year, not just with my writing, but I want to get back into drawing a little bit more. I would like to do a little bit more like creativity kind of things with my bullet journal this year and just stuff like that. And yeah, I just really want to try and be a little bit more of a creative person. And then lastly, word number 3 should not surprise anyone because I feel like I've already mentioned this in this video, but this one is balance. I really want to practice on being a more balanced person. I want to be able to balance all facets of my life, not necessarily equally, because I don't think that there's a way for you to truly balance like every part of your life equally, because I don't think every part of your life necessarily needs the same attention, but I do want to practice just being more balanced. That being said, that is all that I have for you today, so I hope you enjoyed today's video, and if you did, please give it a big thumbs up, hit that big red subscribe button down below, and turn those post notifications so that you, yes you, know every time that I upload a new video. And please let me know in the comments down below what some of your takeaways from 2020 were. If you learned any lessons, let me know what you thought of my rambles in this video. I'd love to hear. And if you want to do this tag, consider yourself tagged. And yeah, I think that's all I got for today. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in my next video.